Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Rux, I'm a Western Tropical Astrologer, and today we're going to be talking about the new moon in Pisces. This is coming up on the 10th of March at 9 a.m. GMT time, so you can adjust that for your own time zone. The new moon is happening at 20 degrees 16 minutes of Pisces. So those of you who have in your natal chart planets or angles or important points such as the North Node around 20 degrees of mutable signs, you are going to feel this new moon the most. What are the mutable signs? Let's quickly recap. Pisces, of course, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Gemini. So you folks are the ones who, if you ask me, should pay attention the most to this forecast, to this new moon update. There are some people who are really going to enjoy this new moon. Who am I talking to? I'm talking to those who have planets, angles, important points at 20 degrees of 20, let's say 21 degrees of the following signs: Taurus, Capricorn, Cancer, and Scorpio. Why are you going to like this new moon, folks? Because it is going to make a harmonious aspect with your natal planetary placements or with your natal angles, such as the ascendant. Now, I think it's very important to remember that not all astrological events will be felt by everyone, which is why I always take the time to flag who is going to feel this lunation the most. If we were to feel everything, I mean, that would probably be pretty overwhelming to say the least. We feel the most the astrological events that activate our natal chart, our own birth chart, which is the map of the sky at the time when we were born. And we are also likely to feel the most the astrological events that activate by aspect our personal planets, such as the Sun, the Moon, Venus, Mars, Mercury, but also our angles, so the ascendant-descendant axis, as well as the midheaven IC axis. Now, before we move forward, of course, we're going to talk about how this new moon is likely to feel or is likely to unfold at a collective level, also how it's likely to unfold at a personal level. We're going to go into the updates for each of the 12 zodiac signs. But before we move forward, let me just share a few things. First and foremost, those of you who want to work with me, those of you who want to book a personal reading with me, a personal consultation, you can find me on my website, which is writteninthestars-astrology.com. That is writteninthestars-astrology.com. At the time when I'm filming this, I'm taking bookings for the month of April, especially the second half of April. Generally, the waiting time for a consultation with me is around a month to a month and a half, approximately, in case you are wondering. And those of you who are new clients, you can go to my website, straight to the services section, and opt for the 1 hour, 15 minutes Zoom consultation. This is completely customizable to your needs. So for example, if you want us to dive into your natal chart, to analyze your natal chart, we can do that. If you have had your natal chart interpreted in the past, we can focus on the year ahead forecast. We can focus on topics such as compatibility, career, money, relocation, so astrocartography. So the 1 hour, 15 minutes Zoom consultation is totally and completely customizable to what is of interest to you at this moment in time. Those of you who are existing clients, you probably know this by now, but of course I'm going to recap. There are two additional options for you: the 1 hour year ahead forecast, and also the 30 minutes follow-up consultation. The 30 minutes follow-up consultation is for those of you who have specific questions or want to look at one particular topic, such as relationships, let's say. Remember, writteninthestars-astrology.com. That is the only place on the internet where you can purchase my services. Another thing, for those of you who are maybe here for the first time, in case you're wondering, in my practice, I work with the whole sign house system. Some of you might be using Placidus or equal houses. There's many house systems out there. I use whole sign, both in these general horoscopes that I do for my channel, as well as in the work that I do with clients. And I think that is pretty much it with the updates. Now, let's take a more in-depth look at this new moon. So the new moon is going to be forming a harmonious aspect to Uranus. And because it's happening in Pisces, the traditional, let's say, dispositor, the traditional ruler of the new moon is going to be Jupiter. Both Uranus and Jupiter are in Taurus. So what is this telling us? It is telling us that this new moon is very much focused on a few things. Accepting what is, making peace with a situation, with the reality of a situation. Also letting go or forgiving or releasing something that can no longer be held on to in order to build for the future in an innovative way, in a way that generates positivity, optimism, enthusiasm. So I'd say that this new moon is about a fresh start, in terms of like general themes. It's bringing to our attention themes of a fresh start, following a sense of acceptance of what we cannot change, and we are likely to be focused on innovation and growth and building increased stability in our lives after we have made peace with whatever is no longer in our power. So let's say we first, for example, have to come to terms with something that we have lost, for instance, or something that no longer is going to exist in our lives. And the moment we accept that, we can move forward with an open heart. We can move forward with new, progressive, innovative ideas and approaches. And we can start working towards a future that is much more steady, stable, and reliable, I'd say. I also want to flag that a few of the areas that this new moon could draw our attention towards are the following. Mental health, drugs, because Pisces is associated with medicine and drugs in particular, with anesthesia also. The topic of healing, the topic of relaxation, the topic of sleep, the topic of surrendering and letting go and escaping something, the topic of acceptance, the topic of forgiveness, of empathy, of compassion, especially for those who are suffering, for those who are in a weakened state, you could say. Pisces is also a sign that rules over the imagination. So this new moon could put the spotlight very much on the artistic world, the world of film, of media, of entertainment. So areas or sectors in which the imagination is very, very, very important. Pisces is also very strongly associated with spirituality and transcending the 3D reality. It is very much associated with the mystical. So we are likely to feel like at least one or some of these topics actually come to the forefront of our mind, are central themes when it comes to this new moon. A new moon obviously is a time of new beginnings. I say obviously because sometimes I make the assumption that many of you who are watching this have been around for some time, and the symbolism of the new moon might be something that you're aware of. So it's a new beginning, it's a new chapter, it's a seed moment, it's a fresh start. It is a time to set intentions, it is a time to start fresh, it is a time to plant seeds for the future. You could say. My recommendation would be, at the time of this new moon, to ask ourselves, What is it that we need to let go of? And after we have let go of something, and after we have accepted what is, how can we move with patience and reassurance, but also in an innovative way towards a much more stable and secure future, including from a material standpoint. This new moon can also very much put the spotlight on healing the body. Healing the body by letting go of feelings, emotions, wounds that have been plaguing us for some time, that maybe have been quite hard to deal with, that maybe we tried to escape from, that maybe we tried to run away from. But I know it's a cliche. Feeling is healing. We cannot properly heal until we allow ourselves to feel our feelings, to deal with the emotional consequences of whatever it is that we've gone through. And after those kind of like feelings and emotions have coursed through our bodies, we can start fresh. That's why crying, for example, is very, very, very healing. I think it's good to cry. I think it's good to let ourselves be vulnerable at the time of this new moon. I think it's also a good time to accept and to forgive whoever it is that we need to forgive in our lives. We're likely to also become much more aware at the time of this new moon, folks, of where in our lives we need to take on the role of the savior, where in our lives we can maybe rescue someone, where in our lives we can be generous and charitable and compassionate without expecting anything in return. I mean, that is the point of charity, ultimately. So if there's anyone who we can help selflessly, I mean, I suppose that's that's probably the definition of help, because otherwise it's a transaction. If there's anyone in our lives who needs help, who needs us to step in, who needs us to alleviate their suffering in some shape or form, even if it's just through, I don't know, like buying dinner for them, or kind of like cooking something for them, or like helping them with some money. It's a good time to do that at the time of this new moon. It's a good time to remember that we can all go through challenging times, and you know what they say, what goes around comes around. And I realize I just said if we help someone, it should be without expecting anything in return. But remember that in the universe, balance and equilibrium is a law unto itself. So what you give is what you get. That goes for everything, on an energetic level, on an emotional level. What you put into the world is what you're going to get out of the world. So yes, you may help someone selflessly at the time of this new moon. That doesn't mean that you will not at some point in the future be rewarded, maybe in a completely different form, in a completely different format, by the universe. So I know I've gotten all philosophical. I mean, cheesy philosophy. Obviously, I'm not a philosopher by any means, and sometimes I cringe. Sometimes I cringe when kind of like rewatching some of my videos, and I say, "Oh my gosh, Rux, like so many cliches in just one video." But hey, sometimes we have to make room for cliches because they are true. That is what I believe, at least. I mean, some of them are actually true and even useful. So without further ado, folks, let us dive into the update for each of the 12 zodiac signs. And obviously, we're going to start with Aries. But before we start with Aries, please remember to listen to the update for your rising sign, for your ascendant, because that is probably going to resonate the most. Why? Because everything in our natal chart starts with the ascendant. In traditional astrology, the ascendant and the first house is the helm. So if we were to consider our life a journey at sea, how fitting for a new moon in Pisces. The first house and the ascendant is the helm and the captain, and That is the point from where we steer our ship through life. If you don't know your rising sign, of course, you can listen to the update for your sun sign. But I strongly recommend that you find out what your rising sign is. It's very easy to do. That. You can just go online on sites like astro.com or astro-seek, SEEK.com to generate your natal chart. It's free. All you need is your date, time, and place of birth. The accurate time of birth is, however, very, very, very important in astrology. So figure that out first and foremost. So let's dive into the update for each of the 12 zodiac signs. And like I said, we're going to start with the one, the only Aries, my lovely, lovely Aries. 10th of March, new moon in Pisces. It's going to be active also in the 3 days before and the 3 days after. It is happening in your 12th house. And the new moon is forming a harmonious aspect with Uranus and Taurus in your second house of income, self-worth, and self-esteem. So what am I seeing at the time of this new moon? A fresh start, a new beginning. When it comes to potentially starting to make money, starting to generate money in a behind-the-scenes way. So maybe you're kind of like starting to work on something that you're not revealing to the outside world just yet. It's something that you're keeping hidden, that you're keeping under wraps, and it might be something that promises to generate income in the long term. This is also a very good time, my dear Aries, to take a new approach when it comes to your mental health. To really spend some time by yourselves and to maybe make a commitment to invest more energy, more resources into your mental health, into the process of healing, into the process of better understanding your blind spots, of better understanding how you might have been sabotaging yourselves in the past. Some of you could be starting a new form of healing or therapy. You could be keeping this for yourselves, Aries. Some of you could also maybe start directing more of your energy and attention towards relaxation, sleeping, which all of these are obviously very, 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 very healing. This might also feel like a fresh start, Aries, in terms of you forgiving whoever it is that needs to be forgiven in your life. So really kind of like releasing and letting go of old emotional wounds. You might decide to just kind of like let go of the past and let go of some of the aspects of your life that maybe caused suffering or pain, or maybe even to let go of some of the feelings that you had for people who hurt you in the past, I'd say. It is a very, very, very good time, Aries, to also start something like a meditation practice, for example, to maybe start a new chapter in terms of your connection with the mystical and the transcendental. It is likely to be very useful, if you ask me, not just because you're probably going to feel better from a mental health perspective, Aries, but also because you are probably going to experience some sort of boost to your sense of self-worth and self-esteem, I dare say. So I'm liking this new moon. Take the time to rest. Take the time to spend maybe a little bit by yourselves, because a lot of aha moments can come from introspection. My dear Taurus suns and Taurus risings, 10th of March, active 3 days before, 3 days after. We've got a new one happening in your 11th house of long-term goals for the future. My lovely Taurians, this is a great time. This is a fantastic time to set new goals for the future, to set intentions for the future, to maybe also look at some of your old goals, some of your old targets and objectives, and say, you know what, I need to release some of these because I have evolved as an individual. I no longer am the same person that I used to be. So it's a great time to also let go of the goals and the targets that are not aligned with the person who you are turning into, or who you want to become moving forward. This is also a fantastic time time, my dear Taurians, to start fresh, to start a new chapter when it comes to the communities that you're a part of and the organizations that you're a part of. So for example, if you feel drawn, if you feel inspired to join a new community, to join a new organization, if you feel drawn to join a group of people, maybe someone who has similar kind of like goals with yours, maybe someone who is looking to maybe let me take a step back. Maybe to join a group of people formed of those who are looking to work on themselves in the same way that you're looking to work on yourselves, Taurians. That would be a great idea. Apologies, I did kind of like lose a little bit my train of thought there. Sometimes that happens because I try to say, forgive me, I'm trying to say so many things at the same time. I'm trying to like share so much information, and I'm like, in my head, it's like there's a few tabs open, so I do apologize about that. Essentially, fresh start when it comes to the communities that you're a part of. This can also be a fresh start in your relationship with a friend, Taurians. So maybe someone who has hurt you in the past or who you have hurt in the past. It is a great time for forgiveness, for acceptance, for healing your relationship with a friend. I'd also say that you might hear from a friend, or you might maybe unexpectedly hear news connected with your friends, and they can be quite exciting news. Maybe someone is letting you know that they're going to be changing jobs, or they're going to be having a baby. So there can be good news, even though there is an element of the unexpected coming in relation to your friends, Taurians. My dear Geminis, Gemini suns, and Gemini risings, this new moon, 10th of March, active 3 days before, 3 days after, is happening in your house of career and status and reputation. Okay, so new beginning, fresh start. When it comes to your professional path, so some of you Geminis could be getting a new job, a new role, a new position. Some of you could very much be starting a fresh chapter career-wise, maybe in a new industry. Some of you could be welcoming in, maybe unexpectedly so, a new boss, I'd say. Some of you could also start working maybe with a new business partner, because this new moon is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is also the ruler of your 7th house of relationships. So you could start a new business collaboration around this time. This can also be a time when you let go of something career-wise, Geminis. Maybe if you've been feeling super stressed, if you've been feeling really kind of like pressured by some aspect of your career, I do feel like this new moon is going to be a fresh start for you, where you're probably putting less pressure on yourselves, you're feeling a sense of relief, and you're feeling really optimistic about what is opening up for you career-wise. There could be a new opportunity coming in career-wise for you, Geminis, maybe because someone is leaving, someone in the company is leaving, maybe someone at the top. So it could be a manager, it could be a boss, and that might make room for you. Some of you might say, Rux, I do not care about career. What is this new moon about? Some sort of a fresh start, Geminis, especially Gemini risings, when it comes to your reputation and your status and your position in the world. So for example, some of you might experience a change in status. Maybe you are letting people know that, I don't know, your relationship status has evolved. Your relationship status has changed. It feels like some of you could also let go of a position that you're holding out, that you're kind of yes, that you're kind of like occupying in society. So let's say you were, I don't know, at your children's school, you were in charge of some, I don't know, like volunteering, extracurricular activities, and you were the one organizing things and so on. You might say around the time of this new moon, you know what, I give up, thank you, I'm moving forward in a new direction. For some Geminis, especially Gemini risings, this can be the moment of a fresh start. In relationship with a parent, especially with the mother. So I see a sense of healing and forgiveness and letting go, and maybe stepping into a new chapter, which is much more emotionally fulfilling in connection and in relationship with the mother, I'd say. Cancerians, Cancer suns and Cancer risings. This new moon, 10th of March, it's going to be active 3 days before, 3 days after. It's happening in your 9th house. Well, I like this. Why? Because it feels like you're setting new goals and new intentions, Cancerians, when it comes to one of the following. Either when it comes to your studies, so you might decide to start studying something, maybe to get a mentor, to get a coach, to get a guide. You might also decide to study something in connection or in conjunction with a group of people, with a community of people. You might also have a little bit of an aha moment, an epiphany as to how your life philosophy and your belief system needs to change, and how you maybe need to let go of some old beliefs in order for you to move forward with your plans for the future. So in order for you to accomplish your goals for the future. This can also be a time when you're starting some sort of a new connection or relationship with someone from abroad. It could be a work connection, very much. You could start maybe collaborating with a community or a group of people that is based in a different state, in a different country. This can also be a time when you commit to working on something in the long term. Something that is very important for you from a spiritual perspective. So, for example, some of you might start, let's say, meditating every day, and maybe, I don't know, joining a meditation club. I don't know if something like that exists. Or you might join a community of like-minded individuals who are working on the same spiritual goals that you are working on. This can also be a fresh start, I'd say, in terms of you reaching a different level of awareness in terms of the meaning of life and what is important to you. And you might realize that some of the things that you consider to be important in the past, they are no longer important. And it can feel very freeing, it can feel very liberating, it can feel very, I want to say almost like exciting, because it seems to make room for you to focus on different goals, on different targets, on different objectives. This can also be the time when you welcome into your life some sort of a new guide or a new mentor or a new teacher who is helping you accept what is and focus on what you can develop and what you can control. My dear Leos, Leo suns and Leo risings especially. 10th of March, active 3 days before, 3 days after. This new moon puts the spotlight on your 8th house. This feels like a good moment to start fresh, to begin a new chapter in terms of your material situation, especially when it comes to resources that you share with someone else. So let's say you are in a relationship and you kind of like share expenses, or you have shared, let's say, financial goals, or maybe you have shared debts. This can be a good moment to reevaluate if things are working properly for you in that regards. Maybe to approach this aspect of your life differently. I do believe this is a very, very, very good time, Leos, to let go and to release and to clear out some existing debts. They could be your debts. They could be, I don't know, like credits or debts or loans, things like that, that you share together with a partner, with a spouse, for instance. This can also be a time when you hear news connected with commissions, bonuses, maybe stocks from your work, if that applies to you. I want to say that the news is probably good. If you can negotiate, I would negotiate, and I would ask for maybe more in terms of like stocks or commission if you can, because you're probably going to get it. This might also be a moment when you start collaborating with someone new on the career front, someone who maybe has access to your money and to your resources. It could be a new business partner, but it could also be, for example, a new financial advisor. Let's say. It feels like this is a time when you're approaching maybe what used to constitute a source of crisis in your career. You're approaching it differently. You're approaching it with more kind of like acceptance. You're approaching it with more tolerance. You're approaching it in a more relaxed way. And all of a sudden that actually seems to open up new doors for you career-wise, and it seems to give you a lot more clarity as to what it is that you need to work on in order to build your career moving forward. I like this. I like it. Virgos, Virgo suns, and Virgo risings. So what is going on at the time of this new moon? So 10th of March, the new moon is also going to be active 3 days before, 3 days after. This is putting the spotlight on your relationship sector. I do believe you can start a new partnership, a new relationship. It doesn't necessarily have to be romantic. For those of you who are single, yes, you can meet someone who has the possibility, who has the potential, let's say, the possibility also, to turn into a long-term romantic partner. But some of you might say, Rux, I don't care about romantic relationships, and that is totally fine. This new moon puts the spotlight on partnerships and collaborations. They can be partnerships and collaborations in a different direction. For example, you might start collaborating with someone who can teach you something. You might start collaborating with a counselor, a consultant, an advisor, someone who you can learn things from, someone who is likely to have a positive, uplifting impact upon your life perspective and upon how you see life in general. Someone who can expand your worldview and who can also shake up your existing set of beliefs, I'd say. You might also start collaborating with someone who is based abroad in some shape or form, or someone who has like a connection with foreign lands and foreign countries. For some of you Virgos, this new moon can bring a new collaboration with a legal advisor, a legal entity, especially if you are involved in anything of a legal nature. So let's say, for example, let's say you're in the United States and you're looking to apply for a green card or something like that. At the time of this new moon, you could start working with a new, let's say, immigration lawyer. That's just an example. Remember that astrology is symbolic. It is not predictive in the concrete sense. It is only descriptive from a symbolic and archetypal perspective, I'd say. So this is just one possible scenario. This, at a symbolic level, this new moon can also bring to you Virgos a new level of awareness in terms of how to approach interactions with people in general, with others in general, how to maybe be a lot more relaxed, accepting, tolerant, forgiving, and how to not stress so much about I don't know, about kind of like trying to nail things down and do relationships properly. And paradoxically, that's actually likely to benefit all of your relationships moving forward, to make your life easier in interactions with everyone, really. My dear Libras, Libra suns, and Libra risings. 10th of March, active 3 days before, 3 days after. This new moon puts the spotlight on your on your health and on your day-to-day work. So some Libras might start a new job. Some Libras might start working with a new team, might start working in a new environment. Some Libras might actually start working with maybe less people or less clients on a day-to-day basis. It feels like a fresh start, Libras, in your workspace, where there are maybe less people, or where there's a sense of like releasing something or letting go of something and transforming what your day-to-day work looks like. It can also be the beginning of a new work-related project that requires you to tap into your imagination, that requires you to tap into your creative reservoir, and that requires you to kind of like to be very kind of like fluid and to go with the flow, and to be kind of like very accepting and very easygoing. I would also say that if you are experiencing a fresh start at work, as I said, it could be a new work project, but it could also be a new job. What seems to help you tremendously is really understanding the psychology and the value systems of who it is that you are working with, my dear Libras. It does feel like the people who you're going to be working with maybe are thinking a little bit outside of the box, or they have like a bit of a more unconventional approach to the work that you're doing, but I do believe you're probably going to collaborate quite well with them. This new moon can also bring a fresh start health-wise. This is likely to put the spotlight very much, Libras, on you maybe being a lot more gentle and tolerant and accepting with yourselves on a day-to-day basis. And that seems to be reflected in a positive way in how you feel health-wise. This can also be a time when you're starting something fresh on the health front that involves An element of relaxation, maybe an element of surrender and relaxation and going with the flow. For example, it could be very beneficial for your health to maybe introduce into your health-related habits swimming or going to the sauna or maybe mindfulness meditation, for example, and to kind of like to add that into your routine, I'd say. Scorpio suns and Scorpio risings. I think you're really gonna like this new moon. Scorpios, 10th of March, active 3 days before, 3 days after. For some Scorpios, especially Scorpio risings, this new moon can absolutely bring in pregnancy. A new beginning when it comes to children. It can literally bring in a new child, especially if it's something that you've been working on, that you've been kind of like wanting, that you've been pushing for some time. Yes, indeed, this new moon might indicate pregnancy, especially since it is in a harmonious aspect to Uranus. Jupiter, the ruler of the new moon, is in a harmonious aspect to Saturn. So any efforts that you've been putting in this direction are probably going to be rewarded. This new moon can also indicate a fresh start romantically for you, Scorpios. Even if you are already in a long-term relationship, for example. I mean, if you're not, it can be a time when you start meeting people or when you start dating. And I would recommend, if you're open to a relationship, to indeed start dating around this time and to say yes to maybe invitations. But let's say you're already in a relationship, this new moon can maybe bring in a fresh start when it comes to how you approach romance, romantic love, intimacy with your partner. So you might, for example, maybe decide to do something every month, to set up like date night every month, or to do something together that is very kind of like enjoyable and relaxing, and to make it part of your kind of regular approach, or part of the regular kind of like ongoing dynamic of the relationship. You might also let's put it this way, if the relationship was in any shape or form going through maybe a challenging patch, a rough patch, this can be a fresh start in terms of either you forgiving the partner or the partner forgiving you. It can go both ways. It ushers in a new chapter of increased kind of tolerance and acceptance and adaptability in the relationship. And last but not least, this can also be the time when you start working on a creative project, Scorpios, together with a partner. And it can be a business partner, but it can also be, I don't know, a life partner, for instance. Sagittarius suns and Sagittarius risings. New moon, 10th of March, active 3 days before, 3 days after. This new moon can bring a fresh start when it comes to your home life, family life, and living situation. It feels like some of you are going to start working on something at home, whether that is renovating the home, painting the home, whether that is getting rid of stuff around the house. It is a good time. It is a fantastic time to kick off the spring cleaning process, let's say. I know it's spring in the northern hemisphere only, not in the southern hemisphere, but it's a good time to look at what you have around the house and say, okay, this needs to go, this needs to go, this needs to go, so that we can make room for fresh energy. This new moon can also bring a sense of healing when it comes to your relationship with parents or with a family or with one family member in particular. You might also decide to maybe approach your private life a little bit differently, Sagittarius, at the time of this new moon. Maybe to institute some new kind of like routines, to start some sort of a program from home, something that is connected with your health, mental, emotional, but also physical. Some of you Sagittarians could also move into a new space at the time of this new moon, or you might decide to start working on some sort of a goal connected with a new home and living situation. So let's say if you're not moving into a new place, you might decide, you know what, we need to start working towards, I don't know, saving the deposit for a house, for instance, and together with family members, it might feel like you're committing to this, and it becomes a thing. It becomes almost like a shared job that you're going to be working towards. Remember that this new moon is the seed moment. It's the beginning, so it's not the end. It's not the culminating point. It's not the result. It's just it's the first page of a new chapter. Last but not least, this new moon is a great moment in time to spend time at home, to spend time with family members, to relax, to meditate, to listen to music, to paint, to engage in creative, artistic, and relaxing activities. And you might enjoy it so much that you decide to make it a regular thing, Sagittarians. My dear Capricorns, Capricorn suns and Capricorn risings, what can you expect from this new moon coming up on the 10th of March? So it's happening in your third house, Capricorns. It's going to be active in the 3 days before and the 3 days after. This new moon can bring in a new beginning for you when it comes to one of the following. You might start studying something new. You might start learning something new, some sort of a practical skill. You might start working on something that requires writing. You might start some sort of a course on a topic that you are very, very passionate about. This new moon can also put the focus on your children, Capricorns. For those of you who have kids, especially Capricorn risings, your kids might start learning something new. Something that they like, something that they enjoy, maybe something that also involves the physical body. So for example, they might start taking, for instance, tennis classes, just to give an example. This new moon can bring a fresh start also in communication, when it comes to your communication with the people that you love, Capricorns. So it might feel, for example, like it's easier for you to talk about your feelings, to talk about your suffering, maybe to talk about your wounds, to talk about areas that have caused pain in the past. And I dare say that it is actually likely to strengthen the relationship. Some of you could also think about buying a new car or a new mode of transportation around this time. This new moon can bring a fresh start, especially if you have experienced any sort of like issues on that front. It is a good time to say, you know what, maybe we need to look at new options. And last but not least, there could be maybe new neighbors moving in around you, some sort of a fresh start connected with the community, with the local community, especially with the neighborhood. And I dare say that you're probably going to get along quite well with them if there is someone new coming in. My dear Aquarius, Aquarius suns and Aquarius risings, this new moon on the 10th of March is putting the spotlight on your financial sector as well as on your values in general. So it can bring a new source of income, this new moon, maybe something that involves working from home or that involves working with a family member. This can also be the time when you revisit your budget, you revisit your expenses, and maybe you approach expenses a little bit differently because it does look like a lot of money might need to go into home and family related matters, but not because there's anything wrong. On the contrary, because there's actually some really good and exciting things happening. For instance, maybe the family is growing. Maybe you're thinking of having a kid. Maybe you are thinking of renovating the house. Maybe you're moving into a larger house and you're gonna have to like buy new things. So it feels like it's a good time to revisit your budget and to say, okay, what are my goals on the home and family front and on the kind of like a living situation front, and how do I need to adjust my expenses and my budget accordingly? This new moon can also bring in a fresh start when it comes to what is important to you. I dare say that you might have an aha moment where you realize that some of the things that you used to value, some of the things that used to be quite important to you, maybe no longer are that important, and you are likely to place more importance, and you're likely to feel like family and home and your private life and stability at home and enjoyment of your private life is probably the most important thing. And you're potentially going to adjust the way you spend your time, money, energy, and resources accordingly, I'd say. For those of you who are negotiating a raise, this is a fantastic time, Aquarians, to ask for a raise. For those of you who are working for themselves, this is also a fantastic time to revisit your pricing and to say, okay, is it time for a bump up? Is it time for an increase in terms of how much you charge for your services? Yes. This new moon is also likely to contribute to you feeling very accepting of yourselves, Aquarians, and as a result, feeling very proud of yourselves and potentially even valuing yourselves a lot more. And Pisces, Pisces suns, and Pisces rising, my dear Pisces, you have waited patiently for the update. This new moon is obviously putting the spotlight mostly on you. You are going to be center stage, 10th of March, active 3 days before, 3 days after. That is when you're going to feel the influence of the new moon. It feels like a fresh start. It feels like a personal fresh start for you, my lovely Pisces. You might decide to prioritize for yourselves from now on your own process of healing, your own mental health, your own process of evolution from a spiritual standpoint. You might also prioritize forgiving yourselves and accepting yourselves, Pisces, at the time of this new moon. They say that we are our own harshest judges and critics, and especially with Saturn transiting Pisces, I dare say since last year, Pisces, that you've probably been quite hard on yourselves, and maybe there have been times where you have felt like you're not good enough, where you felt like you had to try a lot harder, where you felt like you had to work a lot harder. This new moon really says, relax, chill, take it easy, go with the flow. It's okay. It's okay sometimes to be overwhelmed by feelings. It's okay to rest. It's okay to take it slow. It's okay to retreat sometimes. It's okay to get away from the world. And you might even commit to doing more of this. So getting away from the world, relaxing, sleeping better. You might commit to doing more of that at the time of this new moon. It feels like this can also be a new moon in which you kick off a process of learning more about your body, Pisces. Learning more about what your body is trying to send to you in terms of message, what it is trying to convey to you in terms of messages. Learn to tune into how you're feeling more. Learn to tune into what feels good in the body. You might learn more about also topics such as nutrition and maybe physical movement. And you might learn about how you can make yourselves feel safer and more grounded and more stable within the body. Last but not least, you might have some powerful aha moments from a spiritual perspective at the time of this new moon, Pisces. Through dreams, through meditation, through maybe listening to music, through tapping into the imagination, you might have some powerful aha moments about yourselves and about who you're becoming, who you're turning into, and who you are no longer, Pisces. Thank you once again, folks. That is your new moon update. Thank you for tuning in. It's been a pleasure, as always. Please let us know in the comments how this new moon unfolds for you. And I do hope you manage to get some rest. I do hope you manage to sleep. I do hope you manage to chill for a little bit and go with the flow at the time of this new moon. And if you need to cry, please cry it out, because you're probably going to feel better. Don't forget that if you want to work with me, you can find me on my website, which is writteninthestars-astrology.com. That is writteninthestars-astrology.com. And I'm currently taking bookings for client consultations, for personal readings for April, especially the second half of April. It's been a pleasure. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share with the people that you believe are going to benefit from it. And you can also find me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is @ruxunbelievable. Ruxunbelievable in one word on Instagram. Thank you, folks, and I will see you next time. Bye.